Welcome back to the north. It's morning once again, and I'm just making my quick little morning video, show you the conditions. Beautiful as always. I will water change them today as I'm continuing to make sure there's no more contaminants from my city water treatment of the pipes left in my system. Unfortunately, this guy who was doing really good has pretty much entered failure to thrive mode. This event has brought it on, and I don't think he's going to come back. This one's doing great, that's in with him. There's no parasites, and I've dewormed them thoroughly, just in case. And it's not the issue. It's he got uncomfortable. He got whatever these fish do, they get kind of depressed, and you will see this with discus. Okay, if you buy enough of them, you will definitely see this. If you even bought adult, this is an adult discus. Now, mind you, when I brought them home, they weren't doing well, but I recovered this guy, and he was doing fantastic. He's even breeding. But now, because this happened, he might not come back. And when these fish go south, they go south hard. And that's just discus keeping for you. You will have losses, no matter how good you are. Eventually, something's going to come along that trips them up. In my case, it's just city water. And he was adapting to my system. He was just getting adapted. He was a little shy, but he was starting to assert himself. He was eating well. He was doing everything. And then this seasonal city water thing that hits me every year happened. And here we are. He's withering away. There's food in there right now. Every day up until today, he at least eats something. He's just looking at the corner. This is what I call failure to thrive mode. And that fish, if he don't turn around in the next week, and I'm trying to do it by, making sure my water's been sorted out, but no. Maybe I'm doing too many water changes, but no, because he went south before I started doing that. I'm doing that to try and bring him back, but he's just not coming to the food. Maybe he's going to do something now. But, look at his forehead. See how he's skinnying up? His body's getting skinny. Unfortunately, he hasn't hit the point of no return, but he's getting there. So I'll know in about a week. If he's not improved and changed his attitude in about a week, his fish is done. Everyone else is doing absolutely wonderful. This tank needs to clean up as well. Got some leftover shrimp in there. Starting to rot from yesterday. We'll get that all sucked out, the water changed up, and we're basically been protein feeding them this tank like mad, because you can see it helps her develop a nice big batch of eggs. So she'll pop off in the next few days, and that's why I gotta make sure the water's impeccable. Hopefully the eggs survive this time, and the pollutants are out of my system. So that's where we are for now. Those beautiful fish, huh? Everybody else is fine except for that one fish. I know what I'm seeing because I've been through it a number of times. I've probably lost a dozen discus this way. Of course, most of my total losses in that number were small little babies, like coin-sized babies. But yeah, probably lost more than 12 discus in my as I built up my fleet. But those losses were largely encompassed by me buying fish from shitty sources, pretty much. And then most of them were also in the beginning of my discus keeping experience, where learning curve, unfortunately, can cause death. There are very few people and I've been doing this for a couple of years now. There's very few people that I've seen start up a discus tank and not lose anything. I can only think of maybe one guy that hasn't lost a single fish since he set up his tank. And why hasn't he lost a single? Because, one, he knows what he's doing. Two, he picked his fish from an excellent source. And despite the fact that he picked his fish from an excellent source, he still brought some home with parasites. I helped him sort that out. I identified the parasite, told him what the correct medication to use. He addressed it right away. He fixed those fish. He lost none. But he almost lost a couple, But how did he set up his system? He watched my channel. He wasn't going to get into discus, and then he decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. And he basically followed the UV mantra, and he bought very expensive reefer equipment and set up a reef tank as a discus tank, and he hasn't had any problems. And that's kind of the extent you need to go with your filtration for these fish. If you don't, you're going to experience, well, you're just not going to have a good experience. You're going to get this. You're going to get fish that just sit around and mope and die. And even when you do it all right, you'll still get a couple of them that just can't cope with the stress of being in a tank with other fish. They're like people. Some of them are just born mentally screwed, and they can't compete with the world. And so, when you're building yourself up a fleet of fish, you ain't going to buy 12 and have 12 6 months later. So if you're going to get into discus, you are going to have to accept that you're going to have some losses. I think the second person I've seen that hasn't had any losses yet, now that I think about it, is Ben Ochart. I do not believe he's had any problems or losses yet. There was a minor problem. We corrected it. Well, I forget the exact nature. He just noticed he was a little skinniness on his fish, and then he made an adjustment. Everything's better now. But, he's doing it right. And why do I say he's doing it right? Because he's hitting that tank with UV, and that's why he's had no losses, quite frankly. Everybody thinks UV is this taboo thing, but lately, in the last couple of years, like when I started this 2 years ago, UV, if I brought up UV, everybody treated me like I was a black sheep. Oh, you said those two letters? Oh my God, you're cheating, and they would say. I said, no, I'm not cheating. I'm winning. Because without it, many of the fish here right now wouldn't be here. I'd probably only have 5 or 6 discus, despite buying all of these. So, heavy filtration. I can't express it more, and used all manners of it. Right? I have a sump. I have hang-on backs. I have sponge filters. In the sump, I've got every kind of medium you can imagine. And then on top of that, I'm running a 54-watt pond UV system that's good for 8,000 gallons on my 220-gallon system. And then I'm running an additional 13-watt Chinese UV bulb. So it's kind of multi-spectral UV, because they're two different styles of bulbs, and their spectrums, although they are both UVC grade, their spectrums are different, and it's a multi-spectrum approach. One style of UV bulb's great. Normally it covers everything, but there's different kinds of bulbs, and they don't all act the same. So I run two different types of bulb to ensure that I'm getting really good UV penetration. I think we'll end it here, but failure to thrive mode, it's a thing. And sometimes there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Nothing. There's no med will fix this fish. It's all attitude. Ciao for now. darn it, I needed to do maintenance and I wanted to move these two down in a bigger tank, and so I pulled the cone and I was hoping to keep her distracted, but instead I was distracted and now she's laying them on the wall. Hopefully he's been over there fertilizing. I haven't even seen that. But yeah, not exactly happy. But maybe it'll work better on the wall. Oh, there he goes. That's good. Who knows? Maybe the cones screwing things up and the wall will work better. I guess I'll just let it go. It'll be easier to clean without the cone in the way. So here we go with the wall. I guess we'll add a update on what's going on down here. Fish all look beautiful. Tank looks beautiful. Conditions are great. Big girl's eye, which is this one, is looking way, way better. The wound on top of it is almost healed. She wounded her eyelid and damaged the top portion of her eye. So, and this morning when the lights were a little darker and she was facing her bad eye, to the front, I went and turned the spotlight on my camera to see if she would respond to the brightness, and she did. So I think she's going to be just fine. It's clearing up. The cloudiness is going away. Another week, probably won't even know it's there. But that's one of the things you got to think about with an Oscar. They get spooked. It seems to happen when they're sleeping. That's why I call it a bad dream. And when they do that, they try to run away. And while you've got them in a fish tank, and they're very powerful fish, so she tried to jump out of the water, and she caught the crossbar in her eyeball. All tanks have crossbars. Wouldn't matter if I had a 220-gallon tank. The same thing would have happened. It's almost like if you wanted to buy a big enough tank to prevent that problem, you just couldn't. Because even the homemade ones, plywood tanks, you need to put crossbars in there. And if she catches one when she jumps, same problem. So, I don't know, but definitely these fish need a larger tank. Probably a larger one than even I got. It's only a 120. But I like it into 450 gallons of total water and keep that continuously flowing through here in order to ensure that they've got really good, really, really good water quality. So the downside is they live in a 120 gallon tank, and when they freak out, they might hit the crossbar. And like I said, I don't care how big your tank is, you're still going to have that problem. The risk of you finding them on the floor, even despite the fact I have a lid on here, she almost knocked the thing right off. She's so strong. The lights were all over the place. It was pretty bad. It was one of the worst I've ever seen, actually, for hitting the lid and doing damage. So she hit it hard, and why wouldn't she? She's huge, right? And that fish is huge. This is the biggest Oscar I've ever seen in my whole life. All these Oscars are full grown now. These are normal size Oscars. This is what you see in everybody else's tanks. Okay, this one is a little on the big side too. But typically, everyone else's Oscars are going to look like these guys. And then you have this beast. And that's a big flower horn. That's not the small species of flower horn. That's the King Kempha. It's a large fish. They get as big as standard Oscars, as you can see. She's nothing standard about Big Girl at all. She is a freak of nature. I haven't measured her in a long time, but the last time I checked her, she was And I couldn't get an exact measurement. She's between 16 and 18 inches. Because the only way to exact measure her would be to pull her out of the tank, get her to lay still, and measure her. And I would just damage her if I tried to do that. I'm not going to bother. When she's up the front of glass, I hold the tank up and eyeball, or hold the measure tape up and eyeball it. And that's what I get, somewhere between 16 and 18 inches. Last time I checked, and that was almost a year ago, to be honest. She's probably bigger now. The owners claimed at that size she was only a year and a half old when I got her. And if that was true, there was definitely room to grow from a time perspective. Yeah. Those are adults, all adults, with the exception of some of my silver dollars. Those are those blood parrots. They're the ones that get like, they're basically not, they might have some growing to do. They're supposed to get to about the size of a baseball, but they're not far off from that right now. Thanks for watching.